Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to the Whiskey Cove. And on today's episode, we look at 10 whiskeys that I am hunting this year. Run the video. All right then folks, thank you for joining us for another new and exciting episode here at the Whiskey Cove, where we will be looking at 10 bottles of whiskey that I am going to try my very best to find this year. I should say 10 allocated bottles of whiskey that I'm going to be trying to find this year. With that being said, as we approach 10,000 subscribers, we are doing a free giveaway that includes a Rip Van Winkle 10-year amongst some other great bottles. Go down below in the description after this video to find out more information. Have to be a subscriber and don't forget to submit your ticket, and it's free of charge. With that being said, let's jump into today's video and let's talk about these 10 allocated bottles that I'm going to try and find. So over the last few years, we've kind of done one of these videos every year. Sometimes I'll find the bottles, sometimes I don't. So that's kind of just the way the whiskey hunting is. I have a good list of 10, so if I'm able to maybe get 3, maybe 4 off this list, then I'm going to be very, very happy. So let's start. Bottle number 1 is going to be Penelope Havana. So Penelope Havana is this new release from Penelope. It took me a long time to get Penelope Rio, and it was only until this year I was able to get that bottle. But Penelope Havana is a new release in that similar lineup that they do, like the Rosé, the Valencia, the Penelope Rio, and then the Penelope Havana. Very much looking forward to this bottle of whiskey. It is a rum finished. So it will be interesting to see what that is like. I haven't been able to try it at a bar, and I'd like to do that, but I also haven't really seen it at any bars. I know that they've dropped here in Colorado, and they're right around $90 to $100 here. Very willing to pay that for it if it drops here in Colorado and I can find it. But like I said, much like the Penelope Rio, it was very difficult to find. That being said, of recent times, Penelope Rio is a little bit easier. But of course, Havana being the new release, it's becoming a little hard to find. Next bottle, and that is going to be a new release from the Jack Daniel's distillery, and yes, that is Jack Daniel's 14. I could have also put Jack Daniel's 12 on this list. However, you'll have to watch my next store video that I'll do, but that might be a little bit of a spoiler there. However, Jack Daniel's 14 is on the list. What is this? This 120 proof plus 60% ABV bottle of whiskey. The 10 is amazing. The 12 is fantastic. The 14, I'm hoping, just takes it to another level. Haven't tried it. Would love to get my hands on it. The price is a little more. The 10 was initially, I think, around like $70, $80. And then the price went up again on that this year. The 12 was like $120, and so I don't know the exact price off the top of my head for the 14, but I bet it's about $150 or so dollars, in that ballpark of around $140, $150. Jack Daniel's makes some great whiskey. It's just not all about the old number 7, and maybe you folks at home already know that by now because you're probably well-educated people when it comes to whiskey. But if you don't, Jack Daniel's makes some excellent, excellent whiskey. The barrel-proof Tennessee whiskey, the barrel-proof rye, just to name a few, the 10, the 12. They make some really, really great whiskey, and I'm sure the 14 is just gonna blow my socks off. I hope that it's the best stuff I've ever tried from Jack Daniel's, if I can get my hands on it. We shall see what this year has in store. Yes, this is May of when I'm doing this video, and like I said, I've already picked up a couple of bottles, so that hasn't made the list. However, I wanted to get a good feel on what's coming out this year before I put this list out. Next up, and this is a bottle that I've had an opportunity to buy in the past, but I've always skipped on it because there's been something that's slightly better. This is a bottle of whiskey that is becoming much more available here in Colorado, albeit I haven't been doing much hunting this year. And that is because I've never been able to buy a bottle of E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof. So recently I did a video that I did manage to get an E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof Rye. However, we did end up trading that away for 2 other bottles, which I won't let you know what they are until the next whole video. But we got a rye, and that's only been out for like 12 months, and we got it like that. However, the barrel-proof bourbon we've never been able to get. Like I said, I've seen it a few different places. I think I saw one not so long ago, but they were asking $299. That's too much money. I want to be paying as close to MSRP as I can. I'm not cheap when it comes to whiskey, but I also don't like to be taken advantage of. I like to play close to MSRP if I can. So H-tail barrel proof, like I said, I've seen it. I've missed out on it by like 2 spots in a line last year. So I've come really close to getting it. However, it constantly eludes me quite a lot. But I think this year is the year. That whiskey was also on the list last year, and I think I said the same thing. I think I said that year was the year. However, it is going to be the year of 2025, I'm sure of it. Next up, that is going to be bottle number 4, and that is the Heaven Hill Heritage Collection 19-year wheat whiskey. So this is a bottle of whiskey that January rolled around. I was like, this is going on my list of whiskeys to really try to find, allocated whiskeys to really try and find. This is a 19-year-old release from the Heaven Hill Distillery. This is probably out of the Bowman distillery in Kentucky. This bottle is going to cost you $340 or so. And that's the MSRP on it from the distillery. Right now they are dropping it at the distillery sometimes, so if you're fortunate enough and if you get there early enough in the morning, you might be in with a chance of getting this bottle. And anybody who keeps up with my content will know I just came back from Kentucky and I went to a sip and smoke event at Heaven Hill, and this is a bottle that we can tick off the list because we were able to get it. I'm very happy that we were able to get this whiskey. I haven't cracked it yet. I've only just recently got back from Kentucky in the last week or so, and I'm still kind of chasing around a few different things, but very happy that I was able to get it. I don't like to spend more than $100 really on whiskey. However, once a year maybe I'll treat myself and I'll get something that's a little bit more pricey. This year it was this bottle, and I really like the distillate from the Bernheim Distillery, the wheat whiskey. I'm a big wheated bourbon wheat whiskey fan as it is. Really like the 7-year small batch Bernheim. The cask strength is okay. I wasn't fond of the first release. However, I'm told it has got a little bit better, but we can take that one off this list, and that is the Heaven Hill 19-year wheat whiskey. Next up, and staying with Heaven Hill, a bottle that I'm trying to look for, an allocated bottle. Well, I don't think it was necessarily supposed to be an allocated bottle, but it's become that way because it is a sought after bottle, and that is going to be the Old Fitzgerald 7-year bottled in bond. So this is a brand new release from the Heaven Hill Distillery. They were going to drop this bottle and it was supposed to be coming, from what I told, more of like a shelf sitter, but this is what happens. A name like Old Fitz that's attached to whiskey can create a lot of demand, and people are going to go out their way to try to look for that bottle. Sometimes it comes in a really nice fancy bag as well. It looks like quite a bougie looking bottle. So I could see, especially the initial release of why it's so allocated. We haven't even had a sniff of this bottle so far in Colorado, but I am here that it is slowly getting distributed around the US. So I'm hoping I might be able to get my hands on it within the next month or two with this initial release, because I feel that it might take a little while after that to get my hands on it. So we shall see. It's not supposed to be the most expensive bottle in the world, but for it to be in a 7-year bottled in bond. However, with the allocation that's become of it and the need for it right now, it sent the prices astronomical on these black markets, so to speak. So bottle number 5 was the Old Fitz 7-year bottled in bond. Bottle number 6, and that is going to be any cask strength Bowman, A. Smith Bowman. So A. Smith Bowman is batch 1, 2, and 3 so far. 4th is going to be coming out this year. The first one was Hazmat. The second one was Hazmat, which is 140 proof or 70% ABV. But the third one wasn't. But it was a little bit less and a little bit below. They range generally from like 10 to 12 years. And every year it kind of feels like they put in more and more out. Especially last year, I'm told that people were seeing this bottle on shelves in California and around the nation. It was a little easier to find. So it's definitely a bottle that I'm going to be keeping my eyes open for. If you don't know much about Bowman, it falls under it's like Sazerac umbrella. They get their distillate from Buffalo Trace. They bring it back to Virginia, they redistill it and then age it there. The mash bill is their high wine mash bill, I think is what they call it. It's not something that Buffalo Trace uses. It's a very specific mash bill that A. Smith Bowman is having. And it's something specific about it, which is why they're able to get the high ABVs from it. I haven't been able to try it, would love to try it. I love the Bowman single barrel, the small batch, the port finish. They're the only 3 I've been able to try, but they've all been fantastic. fantastic. Blown my mind a little bit with just how good they are at that price point. However, today we haven't been able to see a Bowman, so maybe this year's the year. Hopefully batch 4 will be ramped up in distribution and the amount that they put out. Once again, I put in for the lottery every year. Even if you win the lottery, you have to go over to Virginia to be able to pick it up. However, that might be an excuse for a nice trip for me. I haven't been able to win that lottery. I haven't been able to find it, but this year could be the year for this bottle. Bottle number 7 is going to be the Bomberger's PFG. This is a bottle of whiskey that I would love to get. Big fan of Bomberger's. That's probably my favorite whiskey from the Michter's distillery. I think that it really speaks to my palate. I really like the toasted, sweeter dessert notes that I get from this bottle of whiskey. It's going to cost around $140. Like I said, I was in Kentucky recently and I stopped by the Michter's distillery when I was in Louisville like 2 or 3 times. That's all they had there at the time was Michter's 10 accompanied with like US bourbon. But I wasn't going to get that because I had that same deal last time I was in Kentucky. But they didn't have any of the Bomberger, so I was a little bit bummed with that because I knew that it's probably the likelihood of it seeing it come up in Colorado is slim to nothing. However, I will definitely keep my eyes open for it. It is a red labeled bottle, so I shouldn't be able to miss it. And again, the price is similar to the regular Bomberger, maybe like $10 extra. And I believe the PFG is like precise fine grains is what I believe it to be. But again, if this is supposed to be a better version of Bomberger's, I'm definitely all for it because the Lost Bomberger's I have, which is up on the shelf somewhere behind me, I rated really highly and I loved that bottle of whiskey. Bottle number 8, and this is a bottle of whiskey that I've been able to try. I had some friends bring it over a bunch of times, and that is going to be the 13th Colony Double Oak Cask Strength. So we've had the 13th Colony Cask Strength, and I thought for $100 or so, $80, $90, $100, just really didn't live up to the standard that has been talked a lot about 13th Colony. However, I have tried the 13th Colony Double Oaked, and it is fantastic. It does drink a little bit hot, but that kind of does tame down a little bit from what I was been able to try the few times. Price is a little bit on the higher side. Proof ABV again is on the higher side too. This bottle of whiskey is not just going to sit on shelves for longer than 2 minutes because it kind of stands out like a sore thumb. You're not really going to miss it, and people are just going to buy it because they know just how good this is. Like I said, I was able to try it. I enjoyed it so much. I was looking for it a long time last year. I couldn't find it, and I've continued to kind of keep my eyes open for it, but I haven't actively hunted for it and asked and requested a few from different shop owners to see if they've seen it. However, I think that might have to ramp up a little bit as the year goes on. Bottle number 9 and 2 bottles left, and that is a bottle that isn't currently released just yet, but it's going to be released in the next month or so, and that is Knob Creek 21 years. So they've released the 15 and the 18, and the 21 years is the next in the lineup. The 18 was around just shy of $200, so I expect this to be maybe $250. I don't want it to be that much. Maybe it'll be $210 for every year, but Jim Beam have ramped their prices up lately. Think the old Grandad 16 and the old Overhaul 11-year rye, the prices are on the higher side. The kind of what Jim Beam has kind of been known for, like competitively pricing things in the past, especially when it comes to Knob Creek. I think Knob Creek's pricing is arguably the most competitive within their division, so to speak. Like if you think of like the Knob Creek 9-year, which is 100 proof, 50% ABV for like $30, $35. Heck, you can get better value for money if you buy a 1.75 liter like Sam's or Costco. I think it works out to something like $25 a bottle, maybe even $20 a bottle. And then on top of that, you have the Knob Creek Picks and the Knob Creek 12 years, which are great value for money. However, when it comes to the 15 and the 18 year, the prices are kind of kicked up a little bit, which is understandable. It is older whiskey, but it doesn't quite fall in line with like a Knob Creek 12 year, which is like $70 to $80. And then you go up 3 years and it's like $150, like double the price. So I don't like to see that. However, I'm still going to hunt for this bottle. I do like Jim Beam. I do really like Knob Creek. So if it's less than $250, I think I might shell out for it. But we'll have to wait and see if we run into it. And then lastly, this is a bottle of whiskey that is going to be coming out towards the end of the year. And I wouldn't have known about this whiskey if I did this list in January, because it only got announced not so long ago. And that is Eagle Rare 12 year. So they've been doing a lot, Buffalo Trace has, with the Eagle Rare brand for the last couple of years. If you can remember, we had Eagle Rare 10-year for years and years and years and nothing really else. And then along came Eagle Rare 17, and then Eagle Rare, double Eagle Rare, and then I think we had Eagle Rare 25, and I'm probably even forgetting, maybe they had Eagle Rare 13. Those people down in Buffalo Trace have been doing some crazy things, like I said, with the brand. However, they are introducing a 12-year Eagle Rare. I'm hoping, and I wasn't able to find it, but I'm hoping this bottle of whiskey is going to be 50% ABV or 100 proof. I hope they don't stick to 45-90%, like the Eagle Rare 17 is 101 proof. So I hope it gets closer to that amount, because I really like Eagle Rare, and I think just with a little bit more ABV proof to it, I think it can be a fantastic whiskey. It will be interesting to see what it's like compared to the 10-year and compared to the 17, because we have about half a bottle of the Eagle Rare 17 back there from 2024, which is an excellent bottle in its own right. Pricing wise, well, Buffalo Trace have put their prices up lately at the distillery, as most distilleries have. So I think Eagle Rare is about $40 to $50 now. So the Eagle Rare 12 year, I can imagine it'll probably be, I could see it being $79.99, which, you know, it's hard for me to pick apart prices anymore, because the market's consistently adjusting all the time. So I hope you've enjoyed this list of 10 allocated whiskies that I'm going to be actively hunting for. Is there any specific whiskies that I've named that you're also hunting for, or is there anything I haven't named and something that maybe I should keep my eyes open for? With that being said, now the video is finished, go down below to sign up for the free raffle giveaway, where we have these 3 awesome bottles, and then we will be releasing 3 more excellent bottles for this raffle. You need to be a subscriber, and you need to fill out the form down below. So as we drink through the world's whiskies, one glass at a time. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers.